Eamon Khan here for Seconds Out with promoter Eddie Hearn. Eddie, I haven't got the jokes like the last fella had, but Regis Prograis had a bit of a funny line, or a line from Sam Jones at the end of that press conference. What do you make of that message that he revealed?
I mean, well, we're down to revealing voice note DMs now. This is getting dangerous in the sport. But listen, sometimes you got to fire the bullet. If you got it on your hip, and he had it. He fired it out there, mind games, disrupt the camp. Obviously, everyone's talking about it, which is great for the fight. Never seen Sam so quiet. But, you know, bodes well for the weigh-in tomorrow and a massive night on Saturday. You know, we need these kind of nights. We need these kind of fights. First ever fight at the incredible Carp Live Arena. I'm really looking forward to the show.
What questions do you feel Regis will ask of Jack Catterall, and do you feel he has the potential to flatten him, as Sam Jones said in that message?
I think it's a great fight. I think Regis is, you know, he's coming off a defeat. So people might think this is a good time to fight him. I actually think it's a bad time to fight him. I think he lost his way a little bit when he became world champion, took his foot off the gas. I think now he must win. He must win this fight, and he's going to go for the knockout. I admire Jack for taking the fight. Really, he deserves a shot at the world title, and that will come for the winner of this fight. Obviously, we've got Pyro against Hitchens coming up December 7th, and I'm really looking forward to, I think, one of the best matchups that can be made at 140 pounds.
There's always a lot of noise whenever Campbell Hatton fights because of his father's achievements in the sport. But what's on the line here? Is it truly make or break for him?
Honestly, I'm so excited for this fight. Like, a couple of weeks ago, we had Bivol Beterbiev, right? Undisputed, top of the sport. I'm honestly just as excited about Campbell Hatton against Jimmy Joe Flynn. And people might think you're mad, but I love it. Because I know it's an English title level fight, but it's like the kid lost the first fight, which was an absolute war. He was supposed to have an 8-round comeback fight and left his trainer, went to a new trainer and said, fuck it, stick me in the rematch. Right? There's beef between the two guys. Campbell has to win. Otherwise, his career on this stage is in jeopardy. And there's no point sugarcoating it. It's just a reality. I love the fight. I love Michael Gomez against Reece Bellotti. You know, Pat McCormack, for me, one of the best prospects in world boxing. And let's see a great night of boxing. I really think it's going to be a tremendous card.
Rewinded to last night, a little bit subdued from both Fury and Usyk. Who do you favour in the rematch between the two of them?
I think you have to favour Usyk, but at the same time, you can never rule out Fury. Like, the first fight was close. You know, when the final bell went, I felt like Usyk had edged the fight, but I didn't know who would get it, because sometimes that happens in a fight. And it was a split decision. And I think Fury will be better in a rematch. It's just very difficult to beat Oleksandr Usyk when he's beaten you once already.
It's a difficult question here, but it came out yesterday that Fury's family suffered a miscarriage before the fight. Do you think that in that position the fighter should be pulled from the fight and not have that fight because of what's going on in the background?
I think it's a very difficult question, and I think everything is down to an individual, down to the situation, down to the moment. You know, I don't know the full story. Obviously, it's heartbreaking. You know, I believe it was kind of kept from Tyson Fury, which you'd understand why someone that, you know, cared for him would want to do that. You know, I think that the feeling of people who I know are, you know, attached to loved ones that are fighting is that you really want to protect them from everything as best you can, that close to a fight. Do you understand? Because it's like, but, you know, it's such a unique situation, and, you know, obviously very sad to hear. So I don't know the answer to that question.
Fair enough. Lots of interest, though, from a matchroom perspective in that fight, because AJ might be taking on the winner if it's, or potentially even if it's not, Tyson Fury. What's the likelihood, do you feel, of that fight happening off the back of that one?
AJ wants the rematch with Dubois. You know, he's made that clear to us. I knew he would. The issue that we have is being ready for February 22nd, because coming out of the fight, you know, in training camp, a few niggles, nothing major, and a few niggles in the fight, and just, if he goes February 22nd, he's got to go back to training camp in the next 3-4 weeks. And I'm just concerned about him being 100% for February 22nd. And we can't afford for him not to be. He says he will be, and he'll fight tooth and nail to fight on the 22nd. But we as a team have got to decide whether we do that or whether we fight in May or June, which would give him more time. And it would also allow us to see what happens on December 21st. I mean, look, if Tyson Fury beats Oleksandr Usyk, AJ could fight him for the unified world heavyweight title and the biggest fight in boxing. So, but he's also quite adamant about the rematch. So we'll have to see.
When does the decision likely get made, and what's the options on the table for him?
I think the general feeling from the team is it's too soon, medically. But AJ's mindset is very different, but he's going to have to listen to his team, because I think he will always make the decision of a fighter, which is stick me in there.
I haven't caught up with you since Ben Whitaker and Liam Cameron had their fight. Lots of talk about the potential rematch of the two, but what did you think of that situation as Ben went over the ropes?
I mean, it was very uncomfortable for Ben in there. I don't know what's happening with Ben Whitaker. Something's not right. Like,
In what way?
I don't know. I don't really know the man, but I would say he's not happy with his setup. I would say he's not happy with his development. I would say he's not happy with the way that he's being promoted. I would say that he's not really in love with the sport at the moment, if I'm honest. But that's only my opinion and perception of the situation. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think he was 100% going into that fight. And I think he's an outstanding talent. And I think on his day, as much as I love Liam Cameron, I think he's a great character. He would win fights like that quite comfortably. But he struggled, and he just, to me, looked like a guy that maybe is not in love with the sport at the moment. Hopefully that can change.
Smith versus Azim, Dalton Smith versus Adam Azim. Likelihood that fight happens next?
Definitely not next. I mean, you've heard him. I mean, I've never heard so much tosh come out of anyone's mouth. You know, I like Shane and Barry, and they've got to do, listen, when you duck a fighter, you need people like Shane and Barry to just sort of cloud the mirrors, if you like, and, you know, they know how good Dalton Smith is, and Adam Azim can't lace his boots at the moment, so we're going to go on, fight for the European title, fight for the world title, and then Adam's going to fight a nobody for the IBO. But he's a good fighter. And I don't, you know, Barry said, why would we fight Dalton Smith? He doesn't have a world title. You just fought O'Hara Davis. He got knocked out in a round by a 76-year-old Ismael Barroso. So why wouldn't you fight Dalton Smith in a massive all-British fight against a guy that's ranked top 5 in the world in every governing body? Sell-out show, loads of money. The reason that you won't fight him is because you know there's a very good likelihood he gets beat. That's all it is. I just wish you'd say it. Like, they should just say, Dalton Smith's too good for us at the moment. But one day, hopefully, we'll be good enough to fight Dalton Smith. That's it.
In the spirit of promoters getting together and making fights, making deals, are you the one to maybe mend the bridges between Frank Warren and Ben Shalom, or are you happy to sit back and watch them burn?
I think people conduct business in different ways, you know. And I think we're all like, there's no... Right now, there isn't any reason for bridges unless someone behaves in a way to create them. Like, there is no roadblocks to any relationship in boxing at the moment. Only if someone's ego, or only if someone's behaviour or games isn't appreciated by somebody else. So, like, Frank and Boxer can sort it out on their own. If there's ever a fight to be made with Boxer, no problem with us. For me, they've shown repeatedly that they don't want to fight our fighters, and they don't want to take risks with their fighters. But whatever, like, you know, anything that's good for the game, anything that's good for our fighters, I'm all in for. And, you know, I don't know the TV deal situation. I don't know, they've not done many shows this year. Is it 6 shows or something this year? Yeah. I don't know why it's halved, but, you know, they've got a good platform, and if there's a good fight to be made, I'm all up for it.
I have 2 final questions. On that show last week, Azim versus O'Hara Davis, Shannon Courtenay suffered a loss. Shannon Courtenay's been under the Matchroom banner for a while. What do you think to her loss and her build back, I guess?
I saw some of the fight. I think it was on YouTube. I saw it, and listen, I mean, it was a live opponent. You know, when you've been out the ring for 2 years and you're coming back in a 6 rounder, it's very difficult to, you know, especially over 2 minute rounds. this is where matchmaking is so important. Like, there's one part of matchmaking when you're rolling the dice, but there's another one about building fighters coming back or coming through. And, you know, she'll be disappointed because it was, you know, a massive blow, but it wasn't an easy fight, to be honest with you. So, you know, hopefully she can have a rest and come back and go again.
Very lastly, I can't reference the interview because it's dropped out of my head, but Dan Raphael was making Bob Arum, was making comments. I think it might have been with Dan Raphael as to Riyadh season and how the events have gone over in America, and that future events, if fighters want to make money, they're most likely to happen over in Saudi Arabia as opposed to America. Is that the situation?
Absolutely not. I mean, I don't know what Bob Arum's talking about. I mean, who is Bob Arum? And how is he qualified to talk on behalf of His Excellency and the vision and plans they have for Riyadh season? He's not. Because we don't know. Do you know what I mean? All I know is that the two Riyadh season events that have been staged outside of Riyadh have been absolutely outstanding. I mean, firstly, the one in Los Angeles, one of the best events I've been involved with, packed at the BMO, Eminem, unbelievable fight card. And then the one in Wembley, which broke all records. So Riyadh season LA and Riyadh season Wembley were two huge commercial successes for Riyadh season, the brand. But of course, there is a focus for Riyadh season in Riyadh. But Bob's just off his Swede. I don't know what just says the most stupid things sometimes. Where's he heard that? And how are you going to say that publicly in an interview? He's a madman. But no, the focus, I'm sure, is in Riyadh, because that's where Riyadh season is. But I'm sure he looks at many opportunities internationally.
Cheers, Ed. Appreciate it.